month late talking about the Weiser book of horror and the occult, edited and introduced by Lon Milo DuQuette. But here I am going to talk about it. So, Horror Takes Its Time by Lon Milo DuQuette is the introduction to the Weiser book of horror and the occult, and the prefaces to The House and Brain by Sir Edward Bulwer Lytton, Casting Runes by Montague Rhodes James, Luella Miller by Mary E. Wilkins Freeman, An Inhabitant of Carcosa by Ambrose Bierce, number 252 by Rue M. LaPrint, number 252 Rue M. LaPrintz by Ralph Adams Cram, The Testament of Magdalene Blair by Aleister Crowley, The Messenger by Robert W. Chambers, The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, A Dream of Red Hands by Bram Stoker, Ligeia by Edgar Allan Poe, At the Home of Poe by Frank Belknap Long Jr., The Alchemist by H.P. Lovecraft, Dickon the Devil by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, The White People by Arthur Machen, The Sealer by Dion Fortune, but further reading seems to be by staff at Weiser Books. Their intent was to make their own Bible of fiction, like those before, and let known what the original names and dates these same 15 works from over 90 years ago are. Lon Milo DuQuette reminds us that the best ways to affect emotions and sensations are those that take a little time and art. In Nebraska, he was entertained as a child by a 20-part set of what was supposed to be the world's greatest literature by Spencer Press in 1936. Next month, I plan to present a translation of what remains the world's most memorized, read, practiced, inimitable, and even experienced text. And indeed, I have done that. A.J. Arbery, look for that playlist. Lon Milo DuQuette had a sense of something that a true master of the occult and fiction before him, Aleister Crowley, had realized. Paying attention to what disturbs is no more appropriate for adults than children. Reading may be difficult at first, but it opens understanding and provokes other effects and provokes other effort to make the information hold or build its value. Dark fiction has certainly seen its influence from the experiences, studies, and organizational activities of its writers. Sir Edward Bulwer Lytton is said to be the developer of the archetypes and genre of horror fiction. Robert W. Chambers took it to a gothic and psychological level. Aleister Crowley mixed in the counterculture sense of alternative spirituality into fiction in a unique way. Diary of a Drug Fiend, by the way, is my favorite work in that respect, which supported his role of a sectarian prophet, or who, with the likes of Madame H.P. Blavatsky, helped bring about the New Age movement in what I consider to be the age of Aquarius and the child. Are you ready to operate the narratives that exist and to produce your own? Do not stimulate yourself out of boredom, but be open to a cause. Beware of the choices of media and what is either put in it and taken out of it. That in your attention should be something you should be working on controlling. The House and the Brain by Sir Edward Bulwer-Lytton tells us of death, a ship haunted. It enters the region of ice. It passes a sky red with meteors. 2 moons stand on high over ice rifts. The ship locked between white defiles. The dead strew the decks. All are dead, but one man, it is you, is a survival product of tension on the brain in the sky of iron, of which the air has iron clamps. It cracks and groans. The approach of death haunts us all, but it may not be the dead at all that form the specters and haunt the places of the formerly living. A place outside the body and a place inside the body connect. Casting the Runes by Montague Rhodes James may be titled after an oracle, but it is also a term for letters of certain alphabets, and the phrase refers to the working of language. The touch of those operating bodies is not the same as those who are not. The graven images and stories of those past can both represent the truth and predict or cause things to come to pass if we let them. Even the very churches will only not save, but be the means to harm or kill. Luella Miller by Mary E. Wilkins Freeman reminds us of the power of the memory of the departed. Luella Miller was a school teacher, unique in the beauty of her stillness and motion. Her mysterious year of dying and that of her husband, Erastus Miller, lived on like the rest of the memory, to the extent that right before the home she lived in failed, Lydia Anderson saw Luella Miller and Erastus Miller and Lily and Aunt Maria and the doctor and Sarah all going out of her door. But Luella shone white in the moonlight before something which might be considered emblematic of Luella herself. An Inhabitant of Carcosa by Ambrose Bierce reminds us of relay in the way that it connects to a consciousness of fact that was rather mental than physical. Like a visible curse, a hint of evil, dismal. Knowing that Christianity is generally only a lifestyle when convenient, a person comes to realize that there are other sources of knowledge, like the facts imparted to the medium by the Spirit. Number 252, Rue M. Lapierre. Number 252, Rue M. LaPrince by Ralph Adams Cram shows us how an architect can know the mystical power of buildings that is known outside of any ritual that can be performed there. Weeds on the ground lead the way to the courtyard. Its mood prepares us for the black cube, round dome with the red nude female statue, with a white egg at its navel, stretched above a red floor with a pentagram across it to the floor, and rusting copper cube with an altar in the middle. and a white Parisian bedroom with French wallpaper and inlays of maple and cherry. Is it what they ate? Are rumors of haunting of the rooms only used on Walpurgisnacht? Was it something done to them by someone in another Rue M. Le Prince hotel? A Rue de l'Occult hotel? Or someone else in the Latin Quarter in Paris, France? The destruction to follow was mythical too. But I assure you that people do have perceptions like that and do similar things. The Testament of Magdalene Blair by Aleister Crowley is 19 segments in regards to what the covers for the volumes of the Equinox call the method of science, the aim of religion. It was written by a man who knew that spirituality could be authentic in areas Christianity did not accept. He would not confine to their paradigm. But this story shows how a student and teacher should test their claims, the psychic transmission of information. Miss Magdalene tried to explain away the demons she would dream of, but this could be a result of her fight against Christianity and her urge towards accepting some idea of God. Professor Arthur Blair, who married her after her 3rd term of school, died with no signs of existing beyond the cremated remains of his body. She makes sure that her work will live on, but fears the natural death. If a person has exchanged their drive for life for the drive towards death, by the time they are 24, how can they regain what would be deemed sanity? The Messenger by Robert W. Chambers can access a question that can give an answer that will make us more advanced than a Christian in spiritual matters. Should the focus be on the messenger or what the message is of or from? The oppression of the Breton language and culture could have led to rumors of darkness associated with it. Death starts something, but it doesn't have to be more mysterious than the type of black priest that must continue. Death personified is a veil some never want to see. The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle reminds us that a place and the language connections of the cultures that go through there can pass on the method and meaning of the forgotten magic. Are the curses against tomb robbers effective in a physical sense? Because they are ignorant of the technology and atmosphere of the ancients. Certainly the place, the teachings, and the devices can reveal untold secrets. We can translate and use much of this. But when and how? A Dream of Red Hands by Bram Stoker was brought to pass in a different way. Was this a result of focusing on and sharing the dream, or was it a translation of some other type of awareness? Sometimes what we can understand is packaged in what we don't. Ligaya is by a man who is criticized by the standards that are neither by nature or psychology, but laws that are usually not universal to their country. Edgar Allan Poe knew the power of attachment and the power of the words of the departed composed by herself. Some people think surrendering to their death is a weakness. But does that maintain or bring the eyes of lost love in the frail, almost alive specter of the dead we can't let go? Frank Belknap Long Jr. wrote at the home of Poe to Howard Phillips Lovecraft, "Truly, an author is an architect. But does the fictional focus on the dim side of life end up with us knowing that the evil one came at last? I am not saying that the marvelous structures of wonder, beauty, strangeness, and laughter are all negative. But these form a means of what is beyond the dreams of mortals, ineffably. The Alchemist, by H.P. Lovecraft, might have been brought on by the author's shyness and by popular perceptions about alchemy as black magic. The alleged wrongs against the peasant Michael Malvaise were said to have been avenged on the feudal ancestry of Antoine, Comtesse d'Esse, by his son Charles Le Sorcier. If his father was said to have killed his own mother as a burnt offering to the devil, who should he have taken revenge on? The philosopher's stone and the elixir of eternal life can exist in some ways, but do they or their users bless or curse themselves? Can the proposed victims of their magic and other plots be saved? Or does knowing already doom them? Dick and the Devil, by Joseph Sheridan Lefanu, may hint at schizophrenia. I do not say that spiritual claims indicate mental illness, but to let such awareness harm you, our beliefs lead you to mistreat others, can be considered as such. Incarnate in bodies of flesh are beings that let us know about the presences of what may be good or bad beings. People may also exaggerate the existence of coincidences. Sometimes a warning is what is needed, but people misuse the opportunity. To rephrase from The White People by Arthur Machen, then there are the ceremonies, which all are important, but some are more delightful than others. There are the white ceremonies, and the orange ceremonies, and the green ceremonies, and the yellow ceremonies, and the scarlet ceremonies. The scarlet ceremonies may be the best, but they only have one place in which they can be performed properly. But I have represented them elsewhere. There are the purple. There are the blue, purple, violet ceremonies, and the black ceremonies. The best most can hope for is the rainbow ceremony. Besides this, are other dances in comedy. I knew about such when I was young, but I didn't understand. Language, place, touched in a peculiar manner, old words, pattern. The Sea Lure by Dion Fortune is cast as the suggestion is laid. true or false, the consciousness is built by curiosity upon a drive towards danger, until at last the specters of the dead return like sirens. And I know my voice sounded a bit weird, but I just wanted to show the book, and I don't have a print, so I was calling it across the room, so I do apologize